Hello again. This is the solution to question 2, question number 2 of this exercise number 2. In the previous question, I basically selected 5%, random 5% of current customers, and for that I created a data set like this one. Okay, yeah, this current here data set. I've created this data set selecting current customers, and then using this data set I've selected 5% of my current customers randomly, and I've changed the name of this variable that was filter dollar into this sample 5 variable. If I have this variable here in this data set, now to compare people inside and outside the sample, it's very simple. What I'm going to do is basically, first of all, I'm going to remove the filter, because you can see here that I'm still having the filter applied. So basically, I move to Data, Select Cases, and then All Cases. I click OK. Okay. Now I have all the cases active, and now using this variable, I'm going to compare age and gender. In order to compare gender, I'm going to use a graph. And a very interesting type of graph is what we called a panel graph. I moved to Graph Chart Builder, and here in the Chart Builder I'm going to compare gender, so maybe the type of graph I need to compare gender or to illustrate gender distribution as this pie chart. I double click here, or simply drag this element into this chart preview window. Okay, now the variable I'm going to represent is sex, so I move sex here in to this slice by section. Okay, and then given that I have to compare people inside and outside the sample, what I'm going to do is to use this option here, groups points ID. Okay, this option groups point ID, and to X for a panel variable in order to compare in rows or in columns. I can decide rows or columns to compare people inside and outside a sample. So for example, if I choose the option columns panel variable, then I can move this variable that is called sample 5. I can select this variable as a panel variable, and what I'm going to see basically is as a comparison of gender distribution for those being inside and outside the sample. It's interesting to notice that this sample graph you see here does not correspond to your specific graph, to the specific graph for your specific example. It's just a way of showing how it looks, but without being related to the data you're selecting or the variable you're selecting. This is important important to notice. So I click OK, and I'm going to see the final result. That basically would be the comparison, okay, being inside a sample and outside a sample, the distribution of gender of both people. As you can see, there is a significant difference here. I mean, it looks like I have more female inside my sample and outside my sample, and this is not good. I mean, it is obvious that the sample would be more representative if I have the same or almost the same distribution of gender inside and outside the sample. So it doesn't look pretty a good result. Nevertheless, I would have to test if this difference is significant or not using a kind of a statistical test, but I'm not going to go through this kind of detail here in this exercise that is only about using SPSS and not about making kind of statistical inference. Okay, so it's about the procedure. I'm interested in the procedure itself, not in the result itself. Okay, now if I want to compare using the same strategy, if I want to compare age, what I can basically do now is to use a custom table. So I move to Analyze, Compare. Well, I can also use Compare Means, or I can use also Descriptive Statistics Explorer, using age as a as a variable to explore, and using this sample 5 variable as a variable to split. So I have different ways of solving this exercise, but here I'm going to use these tables, Houston tables here, okay. And what I'm going to do very simply is to select this sample 5 variable here as rows, and then solve the age for sorry, the average or the mean for age, okay, comparing basically category 1 and category 2. So that means people inside the sample and outside the sample. The standard statistics I will see if I don't change anything here will be the mean. So I click OK, and I basically see the result 45 versus 41. This is an option. So once again I see 4 years of difference. This is not a good result, because I was expecting to have a very similar distribution here in terms of mean, but nevertheless this is other. I mean, this is something we will explore during the course on statistical analysis. It's not of interest today. Well, I have other options. For example, I can use analyze, compare means, and simply descriptive statistics, explore, and then using as a dependent list age, and as there's factor list, I can use this sample 5 variable here as a factor list. I click on the statistics. I'm only interested in the statistics, not in the plots. So what I see here is, once again, this is the mean 4487 versus around 41. So once again I see that the same difference as before. This is another way of representing the degree of similarity between people inside and outside the sample. Is another way of representing this idea. A third way of exploring this different characteristics of people inside and outside is to split a file using this data split file here. So you select the option compare groups, and once again you use this variable sample 5 as a factor variable, let's say, to split the file. Once you have split the file, then you, for example, can ask for a very simple descriptive statistics analysis, okay. And if you ask for the descriptive analysis of age, what you will see, given that you have split your file, you will see 2 different tables, or a table with 2 different rows, people inside a sample here and people outside a sample here, okay. And once again you can easily compare the mean 44 versus 45 versus 41, okay. Three different ways of solving this question.